Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This is podcast episode 12, and this is my podcast where I share about whatever I'm crafting in at the moment. So it could be knit, it could be crochet, it could be Tunisian crochet, it could be spinning, it could be something else entirely. I guess we'll just have to find out. So before we get started, I wanted to talk about where you can find me. So you found me here on YouTube, but you can also find me on Instagram at Angel's Cottage. You can find me on Ravelry as Arcania, and you can find me on Etsy as Angel's Cottage Shop. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to talk about my finished objects. And as a whole, this is basically like what I made in April because I finished one thing in January, which will be the first thing that I talk about. And then I took kind of a hiatus. A lot of things were going on, and I had zero motivation to do any kind of crafting. Um, there was a lot of illness in my house, and just not a fun time. So let's go ahead and get started. The one thing I finished in early January is actually. Ooh, I don't think I'll be able to show the whole thing, but it is my scrappy hexagon blanket that I made for my husband. And this is actually, this marker is where we were last time. So I finished that ring because the way that I joined it was I started from the center and then worked my way out because I didn't know how big I wanted it to be. Oh, and I guess I should preface this by saying this little hexagon is a pattern that I just kind of made up myself. And the same thing is true of the edging. I looked all over for a pattern like this and I didn't find one. So I just kind of made it up. And I don't really have a plan to sell it or make it into a pattern. If you remember this from, I don't know, some podcast episodes ago, then you'll remember kind of the why. But basically, this is where I had left off. So I finished that ring. I think it starts again over here on this one. And then I did two more after that. And then this is for my husband, and he wanted it to kind of have that hexagon edge where it's not just straight. And then it kind of, he calls this his turtle shell blanket. And actually, let me take out the stitch marker before I forget. He calls this his turtle shell blankets, and so he kind of wanted it to maintain that hexagon shape all the way around. So each side, when you add more, if you're not looking at the overall like waviness of it, I don't know if you can see it, and I don't know if what I'm saying really makes sense, but um, it has a certain shape, and so he liked it. But this was leftovers or advents from different socks that I made him, or even some projects that I made myself, or like this one was a pair of socks for my mom. So I just took whatever was left, and not all of them got used in here, and just kind of threw them in here because he said he didn't mind if it was really colorful or really moody. So that's kind of, it's a little bit of both. Um, but that is the first finished object of the year. And then next is a bunch of socks. So I've got some of them on blockers here, and they're all a pair. I just don't have like, I made 7 pairs of socks, I think it was in April, and I don't have that many sock blockers. So, um, like for this one, let me pull this stack out. Hold on. So here's the pair. And um, these are for my husband. I believe all of these ended up being for him, but these are just vanilla socks, size large, 72 stitches. I use a 2.25 millimeter. For the needle stays the same. It's 2.25 millimeter for all the socks, but the stitch count does not stay the same. So basically, this is Fantasy Fiber Co. People of the Water, Kelp Frond, and Deep Sea? I might be wrong. I'll put it up here if I'm wrong. Deep Water. Deep Waters is what it's called, I think. And this was a collaboration that she did with an author that we were reading in her book club on her Discord. The author is Emma Ham, and the book that we were reading, oh my gracious. I'm going to put it up here on the screen because I can't remember. But that is pair number 1. Pair number 2 is by Long Dog Yarn, and this is Vanilla Plus Sock by, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I'm forgetful today. I'll put her name up here. But this is Long Dog, this is Heritage down here, and then this is Poinsettia, and again, 2.25 millimeter, 72 stitches, size large. And this year, I don't know if you happen to catch last year's podcast episodes, he's letting me make him long socks. So I'm going to do somewhat mostly that. um, there is kind of a caveat though. Making him long socks means that he's probably going to wear them to work. And so I'm being a little bit choosy about which ones get that privilege. The next one is a short pair, and it is by Long Dog, and it's Pippin and Gandalf. And I really loved working this up. I kind of knew when it was in the skein that this was going to be a favorite of mine. Ergo the shorties. But yeah, this was really beautiful to me. The next one, oh, I believe this is the first one where I changed it to 64 stitches. You may recall last year, if you caught my Vlogmas, um, I made a sock advent for my husband. If you couldn't catch the theme where this was going again, I made him a sock advent, and somewhere along the way, I switched heel types. This was a German short row heel, and before that, I was doing heel flapping gusset, and I didn't think or stop to think and realize that changing the heel would change the total fit of the sock. I say all this to say, I think also that my tension has changed between last year and this year, which is why the first 2 socks are 72 stitches and this one is 64. From here on out, the rest of the socks that I make for him are 64 stitches, unless it's a colorwork sock, maybe. And I'll speak to that if we get there. I do have plans to make some colorwork socks for him this year, but I just don't know. We'll just have to see. But that was Gandalf. The next one is Fantasy Fiber Yarn Co. This is, oh man, Moon Dancing and Waxing, Waning, Crescent, one of the two. Um, you're probably going to see this twice because originally this was supposed to be a shorty pair of socks for me in my Google Pics my socks video. I believe it was the second one. And I'm getting my stuff together to film a Google Pics my socks part 3 because I actually really like doing those videos where I just kind of lay out some sock sets or maybe just like mini skeins and things. And I have a couple patterns in mind and I just have Google pick some numbers. So if you're interested in checking that out, I will maybe put an info card right here in the corner. But this was one of those, so you'll probably see this twice. The next pair is Vanilla Socks, Long Dog Yarn, Hellish Rebuke, and I think it's Inferno. Oh, man. I'll put it up here if it is, but this is 64 stitches, vanilla sock, 2.25 millimeter. It was from her D&D collection. I think I loved every color she put out in that collection. I'm absolutely devastated that she'll probably never bring them back, but you got to enjoy what you got, right? At least I have some of them. And then this next one is a coffee order sock. It's a slightly fancy vanilla sock, but it is a handful of yarn, wizard's nest, and I can't remember what the name of the color for the pink is, but this was from her Howl's Moving Castle collection that she put out. I want to say 2 years ago now. I had bought my husband really loves Howl's Moving Castle, the Studio Ghibli. Also, I think there's a book, um, animated movie, and so I think it was 4 sock sets, maybe 5 for him, and this is one of them. And now give me 1 second while I put the last pair of socks on the blocker. The last pair for the month of April is Explore Knits and Fibers. This is Strawberry Swirl, and then this is Sorbet. And this is a vanilla sock, 2.25 millimeter, 64 stitches, shorty. Yeah, this was beautiful to work up. They honestly, they all are in their own way, and I think that's one of the things I really love about yarn is you just kind of never know. I wouldn't say never know. Some are easier to kind of look at and envision in your head. At least for me, I think there are people who are really good at reading yarn. I do not think I'm one of those. Um, Sometimes I can, but most of the time it's kind of I have to work it up to see. Um, Another finished object that I finished in the month of April is this Musselburgh hat. Um, this is for my husband, and this is in Fantasy Fiber Yarn Co. This one is Ritual Waters from her Coven Club that she did. I think it was in 2023. And then this one is St. Marcus's Day. She did a Twilight collaboration with through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. I believe is the name. They did a Twilight collection, and she collaborated with her to make 3 colors that were St. Marcus's Day, the Volturi Don't Give Second Chances, and there was one other that I can't remember the name of right now, but he likes his hats to be brimless, I guess is the word. And so that's why his muscle bro hat is maybe a little smaller. He more likes a, I guess it's called a skull cap, not so much a beanie. I don't really know the difference. But he wanted it shorter, so that's what I went ahead and did for him. And this is on her yak silk fingering base, um, which was really quite a dream to work with, to be honest with you. Um, so that's it for finished objects. For whips, we have the doodle stocking. If you watched my Vlogmas, you'll remember that I was working on a dinosaur themed doodle stocking for my oldest. And so I pulled that out and did a little bit of work on it in the month of April. Not enough to really make a dent in it like I want to, but there's always next month, right? Um, Another project that is in the whip category is my salty air tea. I had actually cast this on, I want to say in mid-March, and have been slowly chipping away at it, trying to get past the lace work on it. And then my other whip is a float tote, which Nitty Natty did a knit along, make along, crochet along. Goodness gracious. She did a crochet along, I believe it was in this month of April, and it was for the float tote. And this was a project that I wanted to use up cotton that I had in stash. Not that I have a lot of cotton, because I particularly don't care for working with cotton, but I wanted to stash dive as much as I could for this so I didn't have to buy anything. And then I didn't end up finishing it in the month of April. So I got most of it done, but I need to do the body of the bag itself. Acquisitions, I haven't been buying anything, so I have no acquisitions for the month of April. And I haven't been reading, listening, or really watching anything. Before I go, I forgot to mention what I'm wearing. So this is the Cozy Brick sweater by Jennifer Lovett, Violet Loops on Instagram. And this is EK. Both of the colorways I used are EKF. The purple is Balsamico, and the like cream grayish brick color is also EKF. It's sweater weather. And I did this in her Rockies DK base, which is their superwash merino base. And yeah, that's what I got. So, if you like this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. See, you can be following along with some of the things that I'm crafting, and maybe we could inspire each other with the different things that we make. Um, and then go ahead and hit that bell icon to be notified of every time that I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.